Hello, YouTubers. In honor of the upcoming Avengers Infinity War, I decided to revisit the first two films. Now, of course, The Avengers was a game changing film for the superhero comic book genre. It's the first major team up we had in cinematic history. Now, of course, Joss Whedon directed the film, and he co wrote it with screenwriter Zach Penn. And Iron Man 10 years ago was a highly successful superhero film and launched the modern Marvel Cinematic Universe with Incredible Hulk, Thor, Captain America the First Avenger, and then the Avengers, which pretty much culminated in all of them teaming up against the evil Loki. Loki was set up in Thor, and while this does continue the story threads from those previous films, I feel like they still could have done a better job of the transition period between those films to this film. Before I get into the positives, my only cons with this film. The transition from the other films feel very forced in this, especially with Captain America. He wakes up 70 years and is just okay. You don't really get that transition period. Sure, there are some things he doesn't get. There's some jokes poked, but you really feel like he's a normal guy in the 21st century. Where like even Austin Powers had trouble adjusting to a different time period. So let alone 70 years, it's just a really easy transition for the sake of it. Loki, Thor, how did they get to planet Earth after Thor? None of that is answered. He can't see Natalie Portman's character in Thor. And then the fighting. A lot of them just fight and bicker between one another. Now I like how it's not perfect, but after a while I'm like, really? Okay. How did Hulk get to them downtown after flying out of the air? And my only other con is Hawkeye. He's really given the shaft here. He's pretty much Loki's lackey. He's mind controlled. And that's the whole point, but I was really hoping for more from the character. And Black Widow and Hawkeye just seem really out of place. They're not a part of the original Avengers. Why have two human characters who can't do much with Iron Man, a thunder god, and a super soldier, and a raging Hulk monster? I don't know, it just felt out of place for me. But with those negatives aside, I do really enjoy it. Nick Fury is introduced, Samuel L. Jackson. You have Agent Coulson. I like how they deal with stuff there. Even though it does lead to the Marvel tropes of people dying and not dying, you have Kobe Smulders, Aunt Robin from How I Met Your Mother. She's great here. I like how S.H.I.E.L.D. is set up, and you still have Easter eggs for later films. Even with the Hydra weapons being aboard the S.H.I.E.L.D. ship, Captain America's like, why are there Hydra weapons here? Well, that leads to Winter Soldier. But pretty much, Loki has this weapon. And of course, it ends up being one of the Infinity Stones, but he pretty much wants world domination with the Shatari Empire, this alien race. And the Avengers have to team up. The Avengers Initiative has to be initiated. And Nick Fury, it shows them deal with that technology. Loki arrives, such a brilliant action-packed beginning. Nick Fury then has to find the other people and start the Avengers Initiative. We get to see Steve Rogers, and he's dealing with the real world now after waking up from being frozen for many years. And we get a little bit of that here. I also like having Iron Man and Pepper Potts together at Stark Industry Towers. We get to see that introduced, continuing from Iron Man 2. Of course, Thor is introduced later, and we're also introduced to Black Widow again. She was in Iron Man 2. We get to see her do her job at the beginning and find Bruce Banner, who's now played by Mark Ruffalo. I actually personally like him more than Edward Norton. He reminds me more of Eric Bana's Hulk, and it kind of continues from there. He just is in other nations, South America, he's in Africa, he's wherever people are needed, and he's helping people around the world. Very much like the Incredible Hulk TV show. As a matter of fact, Lou Ferrigno plays his voice. I love the Hulk scenes. The only thing that gets on my nerves is like the stupid humor where like Thor and him are fighting and then he just punches him for no reason. It just feels childish and just stupid. But I do like the scene with him and Loki, and he just like hits him like a rag doll. He's just like, puny god. I like it where Loki turns everybody against each other on the S.H.I.E.L.D. helicarrier and Hulk just rages out. That was a really twisted scene. But I love Loki's introduction and him talking down to people, and then Captain America's like, yeah, I've dealt with bullies before. And it pretty much shows a tyrant he is. Iron Man with the AC/DC music is perfect. They really play upon each character's not only strengths, but the characteristics from previous films. And besides it being too much fighting, I do like how realistic it is. How they can't trust each other as a team. It's not like the Super Friends where we're going to be like, hey, let's go save the day from evil today. No, they're real people. They're real characters. And I love Steve Rogers and Tony Stark failing to agree. And he's just like, Iron Man, Iron Suit, take that away. What are you? He's like, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist. And he lists all the reasons why he's awesome, basically. I like it where Thor's like, you can't do that to him. And they name all the stuff Loki does, and he's like, he's my adopted brother. I love the jokes there. That stuff really works well. And Agent Coulson, even though I thought the death scene could have been done better, it still gets the point across, and that final fight is really well done. Another con is probably just the really bad green screen effects, even with Hawkeye and stuff like that. But Iron Man, they totally pull Superman the movie with the missiles. I love that, how they're going to nuke New York, and they're like, no, we need to save people. Them teaming up. It was like Marvel Ultimate Alliance come to life. If you've ever played that video game, you know what I mean with Captain America's shield. Very heroic moment, and it really made it feel real and grounded in the real world. It's the first superhero team-up we had. They deal with Loki, they deal with the Chitauri Empire, and that's pretty much over. You thought Tony Stark was about to die. They add a little bit of humor in there, and yeah, all around, it may not be the most strongest Marvel film, but it's up there, and it was a game changer. It really showed you how you can make a team-up movie successful. While it may not be the best of what it could have been, it at least was successful in pitting people together, and that was more than any other film had done at the time and has done at the time, really. And I really liked the first Avengers. I thought it was enjoyable, but I thought it was a little bit overrated when it first came out. But after some of the sequels, I actually like it more. So I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. You must be hiding under a rock if you have never seen the Avengers. Maybe superhero movies aren't your thing. I don't blame you. But if you haven't seen it, go ahead, check it out, and check out the first Iron Man. They're fantastic films. If you have seen the Avengers, let me know your thoughts on the Avengers in the comments below. Let me know what your favorite film is. Mine's this one so far. I'm hoping Infinity War beats out not only Age of Ultron, but this film. But yeah, I also think an unsung hero we have to thank is Jon Favreau for having the Avengers Initiative after credit scene in Iron Man 1. Without that, they wouldn't have the idea or the balls to pull this off. And I have to thank Jon Favreau for having that scene. You have Kevin Feige, you have Josh Whedon thanked. I really think we need to thank Jon Favreau for the current state of the MCU. Chris Hemsworth, Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, you have Scarlett Johansson, Jeremy Renner. Jeremy Renner doesn't get much to do here. They do great as the main heroes. Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk. The chemistry, not only with the way they're written, but the way the actors act as the characters really make this film. And I think if you had different actors, even with the writing, I think it would have failed, and because of that, it really is the glue that holds this film together for the Avengers, especially that scene between Loki and Tony Stark, where he's talking about ruling the world, and then Tony Stark's like telling him, "Is like you'll be damn sure we avenge it." I love that line. Avengers was a film that changed everything as we knew it, and it's an enjoyable film. So, upon the new film coming out, I just wanted to revisit The Avengers. Again, feel free to let me know what you thought about the film in the comments below. Come back next week and watch I'll be reviewing Avengers Age of Ultron. Also, through the link below, feel free to check out the Stardust app. You can post your reactions and reviews to your favorite television series or films. You can also follow me there. Check it out.